I think it's interesting because we've not had a lot of competitions. So, it's in a lot of ways. I think we've only had some people on the team have only been to 2 competitions this entire year. Some people 3, but the excitement around going to a championship meet is pretty powerful. But I think the idea that we're all passionate athletes and we're just looking for a chance to actually race, I think that's probably going to shake the inner spirits more than saying, hey, we're going to a championship meet. I think it's going to be like, hey, we finally get to take everything we've done in the training, in the training environment and the practice environment, and see what we're going to be able to do at the meet. And I think that's going to bring out, some of our most passionate performances. I think it's great we're going to do it at a championship meet. I think that the idea that we all love the sport and we're actually getting to go do it together for 4 days, I think that's going to be really powerful. And the way that the meet's actually going to be run is much different than a traditional meet. The women and the men will be separated. The women will go early, and then the men, and we'll cycle through that on the weekend. And I think that's going to present a new wrinkle that I think every team's going to have to adjust to. Limited rest on deck and things like that. I can tell you, in terms of the team, we're young. We have 1 diver, 1 senior diver, and 1 senior swimmer. And then even after that, we only have 4 juniors. The idea that this is going to be a massive shift for a lot of us, the freshmen have never been in this meet before, so to them this is going to be what the normal meet looks like. But we're excited. We know that we have some shallow depth in those 2 older classes, but beyond that we feel pretty strong. We feel pretty healthy, which I hope we can say that at the end of the week. But right now, I think the team's full of optimism. Access the competition course until Wednesday, which is different than the past when we were able to get in the pool on Tuesdays. So little things like that. We're going to take a bus up this year. I think gives us a little bit more flexibility, allows us to take some of our equipment that we like to use on land, and some of our recovery devices that typically we wouldn't pack on a plane to fly up there, but at this time we're going to do that. And we're going to get tested on Thursday night at the meet. I think that's going to be slightly nervous for everybody because we know ultimately that's going to be the last threshold that we need to make sure that we remain positive for in order to be able to finish the season. So that's things like that. But at this point, wearing masks and we were tested 3 times last week. We were tested multiple times this week. This is just kind of the name of the game right now. And luckily for us, luckily for the women, they've taken COVID very seriously, and we've been able to train at a level that's very admirable at this point. With our sophomore class, the amount of maturity that happens sophomore year, I can't predict what they're going to do. But the way that they've handled this is they have been our steady balance throughout. They're not overly dramatic. I don't think they get overly pessimistic, dealing with all of the protocols and things like that. And they've trained really, really well. I might be the most excited for that sophomore group to see what they do. And then the freshmen, it's just we've added some really strong freestyle this freshman class, and we knew that there was a weakness last year, and I think we're excited. First individual events, the 500 free. We've got freshmen in there, we've got sophomores in there, and we've got a junior in there. And I think the door is open that morning, and we'll see what we can do. It's going to be interesting because last year we had 2 girls in the 500 free, and I think this year we're going to have 7 or something like that. And I think that's going to be, they're going to feel stronger just because they're going behind the blocks in the 500 as that unified group. But we'll wait and see. So it's my understanding over the years going to Mason, a lot of divers in favor of the Mason facility. The way the boards are set up in the pool, the actual number of rolls and things like that. So, I think, in my mind, knowing that there is a preference on that facility, I think it's going to be favorable for our divers. they only got to go 2 hours up the road. I also think that that's really favorable too. It's not ideal knowing that we're one team and we have head in two different directions, and the scores are going to be merged electronically. And we'll have an idea on Saturday, with the diving results merged into the meet. But it's not ideal, but this is what we need to do to really fit diving into the daily timeline at Spire. And luckily, I think that Mason stepped up, and I think we found a great alternative.